Hi, I am Ravi. In this session, we will check how to install Nagios Core Monitoring Tool on Ubuntu Linux OS. Nagios Core Monitoring Tool is an open source software and will perform installation on using EC2 instance. So already logged into AWS Cloud. So let me launch one EC2 instance with Ubuntu Linux OS first. Tag to the machine, Ubuntu. I will take latest version available. Ubuntu server version 24.04 LTS. Instance T3.micro, which has two virtual CPUs and one GAB memory. Key pair, I'll use an existing key pair, which is I have a copy available on my desktop. Network, default network under this region, and a security group, which is virtual firewall. I will select existing one, which I named it as Cloud Admin. And OS drive, 8 GB is sufficient for test purpose. Rest default details. Right side, you have your configuration snapshot, and I need only one instance. So I've selected number of instances as one and launch. Steps, AWS EC2 instance, launch with EC2 instance with Ubuntu Linux OS. Step 3, connect from local machine, local system. I will be using Git Bash emulation software. Number 4, OS updates. Number 5, we need list of steps to install Nagios core software. So software installation steps are available here. Go to support.nagios.com. Scroll down. You can see two options here, documentation tutorials and support forum. Support forum, you can join discussions, get advice from Nagios community. I need documentation and tutorials. Browse documentation. Now our requirement, there are two options here, commercial versions as well as open source. Let me go to open source and I'll be installing Nagios core. Select Nagios core documentation. Scroll down. Support Nagios with forum. Now you have, this is your support forum. Requirement is for documentation. Browse. Left hand side, you can see there are a few steps here. Select Nagios core installing on Ubuntu. It will open up a KB article link. Select. You can see there are different set of OS available here where you can perform Nagios core installation. In this case, my operating system is Ubuntu. Select Ubuntu, and you can see list of steps we need to perform to install Nagios core monitoring tool. So let's go through one by one. You can see there are different versions available where you can perform installation. So version I am using is 24.04. So I'll use 24.04 related steps. Let me connect to EC2 instances. There's a checkbox on the left hand side. Select and go to connect button and connect. Connectivity is through SSH client. Under SSH client tab, you can see a connection string. Copy this. Now from my local machine, connectivity is through Git bash session. So go to the folder where key file is available. Right click, show more options, and open Git bash here. Paste, connect. Just to confirm, first recheck version running on this machine, OS version. So command would be cat etc OS release. It will display OS running on this machine. Next step, OS updates. Because this is an admin level command, so I'm using run as admin, equivalent to run as admin. APT is a package management tool. Update is the action we are trying to perform here. Execute. It will connect to the Ubuntu repository site and download required updates for the version running. Now to the portal, Nagios core portal. First step, OS updates already performed. Next is to install required softwares and libraries step by step. Just follow these steps to perform Nagios core installation. So first step is done. Second step, install these softwares. Few softwares are pre-installed. If it is pre-installed, no action required. If it is not installed, any other command will execute installation steps. Next is to install few more libraries as well as OpenSSL. Either you can install all softwares in one command line or do one by one. That's a choice. I'll just follow the documentation so that there won't be any confusion. Our first step of software installation in progress. First is we are trying to complete prerequisites to download software source, which includes wget as well. On Linux, wget is to connect the web and download software. Okay, next step is to install a few more libraries. These are prerequisites. Now to download source, go to temporary folder on Linux machine where the download copy is available. Now you can see here using wget, we are trying to download the software. Once it is downloaded, extract this. It's in a compressed format. We are trying to extract. You can see that's your compressed format, and that's a folder where after extraction, so code is available. Now to compile, go to software folder and execute compilation related steps listed in documentation. It will take few minutes because compilation will take few minutes extra. Let's just wait to execute other further steps. Now execute make all command related to compilation. Once compilation is completed, we need to have a username and group available on the machine. So those steps also listed here. Execute, make install group users as well as modify to add group for this folder. Nagios group to this folder. First, make install group users after compilation is completed. Now, once the regular software is installed, we will launch the test page and see if it's we're able to view. At the same time, if any icons are not visible properly, we may have to install some plugins as well. Now, user and group related actions. Copy these steps one by one. Group add and user add completed. Now, user modification. We are modifying or adding additional groups here. Now, install binaries as per documentation. Which binaries related to binary files, CGIs, and HTML files. Execute this step. Next, related to services. Installation of service or daemon files. Execute this step as well. Next step is to install command mode. Next step is configuration, sample configuration files. Because when you add clients to this machine for monitoring, we need some sample configuration files. We'll use the templates and update target machines which are required to be monitored. Next, Apache configuration files. You can copy these commands at a time or one by one. I'll do one command at a time so that there won't be any confusion as well as no errors as well. Even if there's an error, it will be easy to identify and fix it if I execute one by one. Next, for firewall on Ubuntu would be Ubuntu firewall UFW, and here we are trying to enable port number 80, which is for web services. Either you can do it by port number or by name. Next is if you want to manage your portal, you need to have an admin ID. So this step is to create one Nagios admin user account. Okay, I have not given any password, but if you want to give a password, you can give. I'll just say admin 1234 dollar. Admin 1234 dollar. So that's the password. Password would be in this situation, it is admin 1234. And in your test or development or production environment, follow security compliance and choose password appropriately. Next step is to restart web services. So that's your command to restart services. Systemctl is a utility or admin utility to perform any action related to services. So what is the action we are trying to perform? Restart. Which service? Apache 2.service. And we have to restart Nagios related service as well, because once web is restarted, it is advisable to restart monitoring tool service as well. Now to perform test. So on documentation, they have listed a temporary IP, public IP. In our situation, let me pick up public IP. You can use public DNS hostname as well. Then I'll use IP. Instances, select instance. You can see public IP address listed here. Copy, open new tab. Now, as per documentation, this is your Apache web page, but our requirement is Nagios. So you can see here on documentation, they have listed to add Nagios there after IP address. You can just do /Nagios. Now we have created a user to manage Nagios portal. What is the user? This one, Nagios admin. Password admin 1234 dollar. Now this is how the page, a default page looks like. Now, if you see on the left hand side, there are different menu items. You can scroll through and check details related to the local host. Local host, nothing but itself. Now you can see status is shown as down, even though server is running. Now these kind of things can be flexed with the help of additional plugins installation. So left hand side, you can see different set items, which services we are trying to monitor, which host we are trying to monitor, network outages if anything occurred. So different types of view you can see here, left hand side. These are the default services which are included in the configuration files. As of now, it's only one machine. It is trying to monitor host as well as services where your Nagios services are running or and installed. Let me try to install few more plugins so that we can see a meaningful status here. Go back to documentation page and can see a step related to plugins as well. Now fulfill prerequisites for plugins as well. Copy paste. Execute step to fulfill Nagios plugin installation prerequisites as well. If any software or library is already installed, the step will be skipped. Anything is not installed, that step will be executed. Next step, after prerequisites for plugins, we need to download source for plugins as well related to Nagios core. We will have in a compressed format. Now, let me extract. Now, let me go back to the folder and extract. You can see, you can find a plugins folder as well after extract. Compile and install, go to the folder, plugins folder, and compile to install further. I have added a CD 2 times, so let me remove this and paste the copied command. And execute, configure as well as compilation related commands one by one. Now, once plugins are installed, it will take few seconds for the web page to get sync and display appropriate status messages and icons. Executing compilation commands one by one. We have executed configure. Let me execute make as well as make install commands as well as per documentation. This we are installing for Ubuntu Linux version 24.04. The Nagios core, Nagios by itself has commercial versions as well as open source version. In this situation, we are trying to install open source software. Okay, so once we have installed plugins, even though documentation says we can test it directly, but it is advisable to restart services and test it. So I'll go for stop and test. So first stop, then restart, and a status command as well for Nagios service. So instead of restart action, I'll change it to status command. Status action and check. Yeah, that's working fine. Okay, so let me go back to test portal and do a quick refresh. Go to host. You can see now status is visible as up. Services, they are okay. In previous state, when plugins were not installed, it was visible as pending. Now we can see a meaningful message here. So it is in critical state. We can check the services, what is the configuration, what are the required parameters, what exactly we are trying to monitor. Either you can add a few more services or disable as well. That's a choice. You can see few more options here. Left hand side, you can browse through different options. And if you want to go through additional documentation, there's a tab here as well. Go to documentation and see if documentation can help with few more options on monitoring. And once it is available, once it is installed, this machine I will not be using it anymore. It's only for test. So this is the link where you can browse through installation steps as well as other documentation related help required for Nagios core open source. And this is for support on documentation as well as other discussion forums related to Nagios. On this machine, I will not be using anymore. Let me select disconnect from this machine first. On command line, select server, go to instance state and terminate. If I don't terminate, what will happen? It will keep on running. Even if it is stopped the status also, when your machine is not in use, the billing will not stop. They'll charge for hosting. Okay, so it is advisable to terminate and make sure before terminate, if you have any configuration, test configuration, take a backup and terminate. And in real time, even for a development also, make sure you are aligned to your architecture plan and implement with approvals. There you go, shutting down. Thank you.